Australia's under-20 rugby union side has endured a nightmare start to their World U20 Championship campaign in Italy, suffering a crushing 73-17 defeat at the hands of a ruthless South African outfit. The result, one of the heaviest in recent memory at this level, has raised serious questions about the depth of talent coming through the Australian rugby system, just as the senior Wallabies prepare for a blockbuster three-test series against the British and Irish Lions. At Stadio San Michele in Calvisano, Australia's young hopefuls found themselves completely outgunned and outclassed by a physically dominant, tactically astute junior Springboks side. Coached by former Wallabies scrum half Chris Whitaker, the Australians struggled to match South Africa's power game and clinical finishing, conceding a staggering 11 tries in total. From the opening whistle, the South Africans imposed themselves with brutal intent, dominating the collisions and gaining easy meters with every phase. Australia, by contrast, looked hesitant in contact and fragile in defence, missing crucial first-up tackles and failing to slow down the Springboks' lightning-fast ruck ball. The scoreboard quickly ticked over as South Africa capitalised on almost every Australian mistake, running in 5 tries before half-time to establish a commanding 33-5 lead. Despite flashes of attacking promise, Australia struggled to gain a foothold in the match, spending long periods camped inside their own half and unable to string together consistent attacking phases. Fullback Sid Harvey provided one of the few bright moments for the Australians, crossing for a well-taken try and adding a conversion to his tally. Winger Cooper Waters also showed glimpses of his finishing ability, bagging a double to add some late respectability to the scoreline. But these isolated moments did little to stem the South African onslaught, with the Junior Boks relentless in their pursuit of points throughout the second half. The South Africans' pace, power and precision in both attack and defence proved far too much for Australia to handle, leaving the young Wallabies shell-shocked and searching for answers. For Whitaker and his coaching staff, the defeat represents a harsh reality check on where this group stands on the global stage. Coming into the tournament with hopes of challenging for a semi-final berth, Australia now face an uphill battle simply to progress from their group. The result is all the more concerning given the Wallabies' broader struggles at senior level over the past few years, with critics already questioning the long-term future of the sport in the country. Australia's rugby union pathway has been under intense scrutiny in recent seasons, with declining grassroots participation, poor Super Rugby performances, and a talent drain to overseas competitions contributing to the national team's slide down the world rankings. This latest setback at U20 level will only intensify calls for structural reform within Rugby Australia, with the sport's future talent pipeline now appearing dangerously thin. Whitaker, speaking after the match, admitted his side were comprehensively beaten but vowed to learn from the experience. "We got taught a lesson in physicality, discipline and execution today," Whitaker said. "South Africa showed us where the benchmark is, and we've got to respond now." The coach praised his side's effort but lamented their inability to adapt under pressure, particularly in defence where the Junior Boks exploited mismatches and defensive lapses with ruthless efficiency. "We've got a talented group of players, but talent alone doesn't win you matches at this level. It's about doing the basics right under pressure," he said. South Africa's win sends a clear warning to the rest of the competition, with the Junior Boks again shaping as one of the tournament favourites. Their forwards laid a powerful platform, dominating the scrum and breakdown, while their backs were clinical in finishing the opportunities that came their way. The result leaves Australia facing a daunting path ahead, with must-win matches against equally strong opponents in their remaining pool games. The mental and physical toll of such a heavy defeat will test the character of this young squad, who must now regroup quickly to salvage their campaign. Players like Sid Harvey and Cooper Waters showed they can produce moments of brilliance, but the team's overall cohesion and defensive structure need rapid improvement. Australia's lack of physicality at the gain line and inability to slow South Africa's ball at the breakdown were glaring weaknesses that will need immediate attention. The Wallabies' senior coaches, including head coach Joe Schmidt, will be watching with concern as they prepare their squad for the arrival of the Lions, knowing that the next generation is struggling to compete at world level. The gap between Australia's junior and senior teams and the world's best nations appears to be widening, and Rugby Australia must now accelerate efforts to bridge it. Longer term, the sport faces existential questions about its development pathways, funding structures, and ability to retain talented athletes in a crowded Australian sporting market. For now, the task is more immediate: fix what they can ahead of the next match and restore pride in the jersey. Players and coaches alike will have to dig deep, analyse their failings with honesty, and show resilience in the face of adversity. The team will look to its leadership group for guidance and composure as they attempt to bounce back from this humbling defeat. Captain Toby McPherson acknowledged the disappointment but urged his teammates to stick together. "We've got to own this. No hiding from it, but we're still in this tournament, and we'll fight for every minute we've got left," McPherson said. South Africa, meanwhile, march on with confidence, their blend of physicality and flair setting the benchmark in the early stages of the tournament. The junior box performance showcased the depth and strength of their rugby system, with several players likely to push for senior honours in the coming years. Australia now face a crucial period of introspection and adjustment if they are to avoid further embarrassment in Italy. Training sessions will likely focus on defensive structure, breakdown effectiveness, and mental resilience, all of which were lacking against South Africa. Whitaker and his assistants have limited time to turn things around but will draw on their extensive playing and coaching experience to steady the ship. The Australian rugby public, disillusioned after a difficult few years, will be watching closely to see how this young side responds. While the scoreline was ugly, tournaments like the World U20 Championship are as much about development as they are about winning. But heavy defeats like this test a team's spirit and self-belief, making the next match a defining moment in the careers of many of these players. The Junior Wallabies must find a way to channel their disappointment into determination, knowing that their tournament, and potentially their rugby futures, are on the line. The South African players celebrated a job well done, but their focus will quickly turn to tougher challenges ahead. For Australia, it's back to the drawing board. The lessons from this painful defeat must be absorbed quickly, and mistakes corrected with urgency. Whitaker remains optimistic that his side can bounce back, but the scale of the challenge could hardly be greater. The World U20 Championship is unforgiving, and there will be no easy games from here. Australia's young stars must decide now whether this defeat defines them or inspires them to rise again. The rugby world is watching. And for Australian rugby, the stakes have rarely been higher.